Okay, so I have all of my pieces cut, and I just want to show you a little bit, maybe a few tips of how it's one thing. This still kind of, shot. It's still kind of grabbed a little bit even on this thicker paper, and I didn't think that Miko was that detailed. But when you get to the paper piecings, especially the Disney ones, if they have very detailed cuts, you want to slow your speed down. So I probably should have put my speed on medium for that cut. The rest did okay, other than maybe the face, the little bitty eye. But so one more tip: if you're doing the detailed cuts, then you might want to slow it down a little bit. Now, I usually leave my pieces on the mat because, like I said, the little bitty tongue, the little bitty eyes, those are going to get thrown away as trash. So unless you kind of keep them on here, then you know what the pieces are and where they go. So I just leave everything on the mat if I can. And I always keep my book so that I can kind of look, and I can also look at the pieces if there's very many tiny pieces to see exactly what is what and where it goes. If I can get everything off and leave that itty bitty tongue. Now, can you see? That's how small of a piece that you're dealing with. So that's why it's best if you can kind of keep it contained in one area. A lot of time on the eyes, I will just use a marker, but that little eye moved. It's a little sticking back over there, so maybe we don't forget him. Okay, so let's take the gray piece of Miko. Okay, and I just kind of start laying it out to see how it fits. Make sure I know where all the pieces are before I start gluing. And I use a Zig two-way glue pen to put all my paper piecings together. It has a tiny tip and it does a great job. You have to work kind of quick because if it dries, then it's not permanent. It will stick, but it's not permanent. I have this mask. As you can tell, the little inside of the eyes or the throwaway parts there. See, if you have these pieces floating around along with the little eyes and the little tongues, it's easy to throw away the wrong thing. Okay, and then we have the white around his face. And of course his little white eyes, which, like I said, a lot of times I will just use my white Signo marker pen and do that rather than trying to piece those pieces. So we'll have to play. And then we have a little red tongue. Okay, so that's all of the pieces there. So now let's go ahead and start gluing him down. So this is the Zig two-way glue pen. Get a little bit and work as quick as you can. Like I said, this background cut has little bitty lines cut, these score type marks cut, so that you know exactly where your pieces go. So that's why it's important to start with that very first cut down here and not just the shadow. You could do the shadow, but then you're not going to have any cheat lines, so you're not going to know exactly where these other pieces go. And you can tell that this cut leaves a little bit of black shadow, so you don't really need a shadow if you're just doing a paper piecing like this. Now the Zig two-way, they also make a little bit bigger one, which in a piece like this I normally open. It's got a bigger chiseled tip, sorry. Because a lot of times this will dry, especially because I'm working under a ceiling fan. But I wanted to just real quickly put him together. And then you can always take chalk, your pens, your markers, and add even more detail, which I normally always do. It just adds that much more dimension and just makes your pieces look really, really nice. So we'll see what we can do with him once we get him all glued. Ooh, some of these pieces are so tiny. The little bitty pieces like the eyes and the nose, the tongues, different things like that, if you'll get a little pair of tweezers, that's kind of the best way to pick up and work with those tiny pieces. A lot of times I will take my pen and where these cutouts are, I will just go over them a little bit because sometimes the paper gets stuck or there's just not as much definition as what I would like.